and welcome to the presentation on dynamics of machinery, unit number 3, 2 degrees of freedom systems, undamped vibration. So these are the contents of this unit. Up till now we have seen single degree of freedom systems, damped and undamped cases. So free vibrations means there is no damping, and single degree means it will be having only one mass and its displacement. In case of 2 degree of freedom system, there will be more than one mass, means there will be two masses and two different coordinates which will specify the motion of that particular system. So here we are going to see the free vibration of spring coupled systems when it is having the motion in the longitudinal direction, and we will try to determine the natural frequency and the mode shapes of this particular system. We have already seen the importance of natural frequency to avoid the resonance. So let us consider this 2 degree of freedom system as shown in this particular figure. Here you can see there are two masses, M1, M2, and the stiffness of the spring K1, K2 and K3 as indicated in this particular figure. This is K1, K2 and K3. Three springs are used here and two masses, M1, M2, and their displacements X1 and X2. Okay, so now we have to draw the free body diagram for this particular mass M1. So definitely this motion of this particular mass is in the downward direction, so this particular spring will be under tension because of this X1, and this K2 will be under compression. So when it is in tension, it will try to pull this block in the upward direction, and due to compression it will try to compress this block in the upward direction. So the free body diagram becomes like this. Here you can see the K1 into X1 is the upward force acting on this particular mass, and K2 into X1 is also acting in the upward direction on this mass. Now similarly, there is a displacement X2 in the downward direction here, because of which this K2 will get again extended. That means there will be tensile force in this particular spring. So because of the tensile force, this spring will try to pull this particular block in the downward direction. Therefore K2 into X2 will be the force here. So if I consider that the X2 is more than X1, in that case the resultant force over here at the bottom, which will be nothing but the difference of this higher force, that is K2 into X2, minus a lower force K2 into X1. So finally total force becomes K2 into X2 minus X1. Similarly, I can draw the free body diagram for the mass M2 for this mass. So in this case also I can show here the forces. X2 is the displacement in the downward direction, and K2 into X2 upward force, K2 into X1 a downward force, and K3 into X2 again an upward force. And in case of in the resultant, in the top side, if you see the resultant force in the upward direction, that is K2 into X2 minus X1, and in the downward it is K3 into X2. So now we have to consider the inertia force of this particular mass. So as the motion of this particular mass is in the downward direction, so inertia force will be in the upward direction. So we are using here the Newton's law. So based on Newton's law of motion, sum of external forces will be equal to the inertia force. So here for mass M1, M into X1 double dot is the acceleration force, which will be equal to, so since this X1 is in the downward direction, so upward will be the inertia force, so M1 into X1 double dot, and this will be equal to minus K1 X1, which is upward here, K1 X1, and plus K2 into X2, this is downward. So I can write this inertia force M1 X1 double dot will be equal to the sum of these two forces. Similarly, now I will write the equation in a simplified form. So just I am multiplying this K2 into X2 minus X1. So this K2 into X2 minus X1 I have multiplying, so I am writing separately K2 into X2 plus K2 into X1, and here now I am separating the term of X1 and X2. So X1 is K1 here, K1 X1, and here it is K2 X1. So I will write X1 K1 plus K2 equal to K2 X2. Since it is minus sign here, when I am moving it towards right side, it becomes positive. So K2 into X2. So this is the equation number 1 we obtained from this particular free body diagram of the mass M1. Now we'll see the free body diagram of mass m2, and for mass m2 we'll write the inertia force equal to the sum of external forces acting on it. So there are two forces acting on this mass at this moment, that is k2 into x2 minus x1 and k3 into x2. So the inertia force will be equal to m into x double dot is equal to minus k3 x2 minus k2 into x2 minus x1. So again I will try to simplify this by multiplying that k2 with x2 minus x1. So it becomes k2 into x2 minus k2 into x1, and then I will again separate the terms of this x1 and x2. So it becomes x2 in bracket k2 plus k3 equal to k2 x1. So I have just separated k2 x1 right side. Since it is an equation of mass 2, so I have taken the terms of x2 here on the left hand side and right hand side x1. While in this case it was for mass m1, so I have taken the x1 term on the left side and x2 term on the right hand side. Now these two equations which I got from the free body diagrams of these two masses, so we have to find out the solution of this. So let us assume that under steady state conditions the solutions for x1 and x2 becomes harmonic, and assume these harmonic solutions as x1 is equal to capital X1 sin of omega t and x2 becomes capital X2 sin of omega t. Okay, so accordingly accelerations of this becomes x1 double dot is equal to minus omega square into x1 sin of omega t, and acceleration for second mass, that is x2 double dot, is equal to minus omega square x2 sin of omega t. So let us substitute these in these equations which we have got in the previous slide. So this is what equation 1 you have got, and this is the second equation that you got. Okay, now we have to put the value of x1 and x2, x1 double dot, x2 double dot, and x1 and x2 from this particular assumed data, assumed solution. So if I put this x1 double dot, so equation becomes minus m1 omega square into x1 sin of omega t plus k1 plus k2 into x1 sin of omega t, that is equal to k2 x2 sin of omega t. So I just put the values of x1 and x2 in this equation 1. Similarly I will put it in the equation number 2. So my equation becomes like this. Simply I just put the value of x1 double dot and x2 double dot and x1 and x2. So now I have to simplify this solution. So let me write this equation once again as it is here. Okay, so if I assume that omega t is equal to 90 degree, in that case sin of omega t becomes 1, and therefore this equation can be written as by removing this sin of omega t term. So it will be minus m1 omega square into x1 plus k1 plus k2 into x1 is equal to k2 x2. This is first equation, and the second equation becomes minus m2 omega square into x2 plus k1 plus k2 x2 is equal to k2 into x1. Okay, so now I am separating the term of x1 and x2. So x1 here, it is x1 here and here is there. So x1 term I have written separately, minus x1 in bracket minus m1 omega square plus k1 plus k2. Similarly I will write the term of x2 on the second equation. Okay, and now I will try to find out the x1 by x2 from this equation. So x1 by x2 will be equal to k2 upon k1 plus k2 minus m1 omega square. Okay, so from this equation you are getting the one value of x1 by x2, and from this equation you are getting one value of x1 by x2, and that is equated over here. Okay, and once it is equated, now we have to make the cross multiplication of this. So in this case, in the denominator it is k2, and here it is case it is in the numerator it is k2. So this, if I remove towards left side, so it becomes k2 square, that is equal to the remaining two terms being multiplied here, k1 plus k2 minus m1 omega square and k2 plus k3 minus m2 omega square. These terms will be multiplied. So this k2 square will be, now I will be multiplying each these terms separately, like k1 into k2 means first term of this bracket and first term of this bracket, another bracket. So k1 k2 then k2 multiply by k2, then k minus k2 m1 omega square. Like this I will multiply each of these terms and I will get this particular equation. Now next step is to just again simplify that particular equation. So first I will write now the value of m1 m2 into omega raised to 4, okay, because this is actually the last term which I am writing on the first side, m1 m2 omega raised to 4 minus in bracket m1 k2 plus k3 plus m2 k1 plus k2 omega square plus k1 k2 k1 k3 plus k2 k3 is equal to 0. So this is what you are getting the equation in omega raised to 4. So this is actually a quadratic equation in omega raised to 2, and it gives two values of the omega square. So that two positive values of omega corresponds to the two natural frequencies omega n1 and omega n2 of this particular system. So when you solve this particular equation by considering it as a quadratic equation, and when you get the roots of this equation, the roots of the equations are nothing but the natural frequency of this. So this equation is therefore called as frequency equation, since the roots of these equations gives the natural frequencies of the system. And now let us consider, means you are going to simplify this particular system. So you are putting this k1 equal to k2 equal to k3 is equal to k. So the bottom spring and the top spring, if you are considering that these two are having the same stiffness and this is having some different stiffness, okay, so and masses are also same, m1 is equal to m2, so that this equation becomes quite simplified. So if I make this substitution into this, then the frequency equation becomes m1 m square omega raised to 4, because m1 and m2 are same, so m1 square it becomes omega raised to 4. Now this k2 plus k3 becomes k plus k2, because k3 and k1 we are considered as a k. So this is what is in the simplified form. Now if you have to get the roots of this, again I am going to assume or considering that omega square is equal to sigma. So omega raised to 4 becomes sigma square. So this is what I am going to make the substitution to get the roots of this. So now my modified equation becomes m square into sigma square minus 2m k1 plus k2 sigma plus k2 square plus 2k k2 is equal to 0. Now we know that whenever there is an algebraic equation ax square plus bx plus c, so we get the roots of that equation by using minus b plus minus under root b square minus 4ac upon twice a. So similarly here you are using this ax square, so x square means nothing but sigma square here, and a value is nothing but m square, so ax square plus bx, so b is nothing but the minus 2m in bracket k plus k2, and c is nothing but equal to k square plus 2k k2. So let us get the roots of this. Sigma 1 2 is equal to minus b plus minus under root b square minus 4ac upon twice a. So if I put these values of b, a, b and c in this equation, okay, so it will be looking like this. Now I have to just simplify these terms, okay. So after simplification this minus minus becomes plus, so plus 2m, okay, into in bracket k plus k2 divided by 2m square, so which was common, so that 2a I have separated for the first term and taking to the right hand side another term. So it becomes now k plus k2 divided by m, because the 2 will get cancelled out, plus minus in under root k2 square by m square. So all of the terms will get cancelled out, and in the simplified form you will get it like this. So next step is again k plus k2 by m plus minus k2 by m, because it is an under root k2 square by m square, so root of that is k2 by m. So it means now I can get the different values of this sigma 2. So if I make the addition of this k plus k2 by m plus k2 by m, so it will be k plus 2k2 by m, and therefore omega n2 square is nothing but this particular value. So omega n2 becomes root of this, that is root of k plus 2k2 by m, and sigma 1. So if I am making the subtraction of these two terms, so k plus k2 by m minus k2 by m, so it will be k by m, It means omega n square is equal to k by m. So omega n is equal to under root of k by m. So these are nothing but the two values, omega n2 and omega n1. These two are the nothing but the natural frequencies of this particular system. So these are the what two natural frequencies that you got. So omega n1 is called as the first or the fundamental frequency or the first mode frequency, and omega n2 is called the second or second natural frequency or second mode frequency. So thus the number of natural frequencies of a system is equal to the number of the degrees of freedom of the system. So if it is 2 degree of freedom system, so we will be having 2 natural frequencies. If it is 3 degree of freedom system, we will have the 3 natural frequencies, like that. So now we have to determine the mode shapes of this. So you can see in this particular diagrams the mode shapes are indicated. That means the mode shapes are nothing but a displacement x1 and x2 of these two masses. So when the system is vibrating with the first natural frequency, you will get the mode shape like this. It means x1 and x2 will be equal, and when it is vibrating with the second natural frequency, this x1 and x2 will be opposite. Magnitude may be equal, but the directions are opposite. So this is the way it is going to vibrate. So now mathematically we will try to get it. So from x1 by x2 we have got the ratio in the previous slides, okay, which is given by this. Okay, now in this equation we have to put the value of, suppose, omega n1. There are two equations for this x1 by x2. So in any one equation you have to put the value of omega n1. So if I put the value of omega n1 into the first equation, so it becomes k2 upon k plus k2 minus m, okay, into k by m, because omega square becomes k by m. So m will get cancelled out and k will get cancelled out. So it becomes, remaining term will be x1 upon x2. It is k2 upon k2. So k2 by k2, that again will cancel out, okay, and you will get the value of x1 by x2 as 1. And similarly, when you put the value of omega n2 here in this equation, so you will get this as minus 1. It means for the first natural frequency your ratio of x1 by x2 is 1, and for the second natural frequency it is minus 1. So accordingly you will be getting same displacement when it is vibrating with the first natural frequency. x1 and x2 will be equal, and it will be opposite when it is vibrating with the second natural frequency. So the displacement x1 and x2 corresponding to the two natural frequencies of the system can be plotted as shown in this particular figure, which describes the mode in which masses vibrate. Such a diagram is called principal mode shape of the system. When the system vibrates in principal mode of masses oscillates in such a way that they reach the maximum displacement simultaneously and pass through their equilibrium points simultaneously, or all moving parts of the system oscillates in phase with the one frequency, since the ratio of x1 by x2 is important rather than the amplitude themselves. So it is customary to assign a unit value of the amplitude to the either x1 or x2. When this is done, the principal mode is referred as normal mode of the system. So there are certain observations. First is that it can be seen from the figure that when the system vibrates in the first mode, the amplitude of the masses remains the same and the motion of the both masses are in phase. That is, the masses move up or down together. When the system vibrates in the second mode, the displacement of the two masses have the same magnitude with opposite signs. Thus, the motion of m1 and m2 are 180 degree out of phase. Okay, so the phase difference is there in these two, that is of 180 degree. Exactly opposite vibrations are there, and in this case it is having the same. Okay, so if they both masses are moving down, okay, so it is, you can say that both moving up or both moving down, so it is first mode of vibration. And if they are moving opposite, one is moving up and another is down, so it is second mode of vibration. So the second observation is when the two masses are given the equal initial displacements in the same direction and released, they will be vibrating in the first mode, and when they are given equal initial displacement in the opposite directions and release, they will be vibrating in the second mode. So this is what is specified in this particular diagram. So another observation of this system is that When the system vibrates in first mode, the length of the middle spring remains constant. So this spring is called as coupling spring. It is neither stretched nor compressed. So it moves bodily with both the masses and hence totally ineffective as shown in the figure. It means when I am saying that it is vibrating with the first mode of vibration, so as you can see in this particular diagram, so this mass moves up, or this mass moves up and this mass also moves up. So both are moving up and up in the equal displacements. So definitely when this particular both the masses are moving upward, this K1 will get compressed and this K3 will get extended, but this K2 will remain inextended. Therefore you can say that it is ineffective in the first mode. Okay. Similarly, even if the coupling spring is removed, the two masses will vibrate as a 2 degree of freedom system with omega n is equal to under root of k by m, where when it vibrates in second mode, the midpoint of the middle spring remains stationary for all the time. Such a point which experiences no vibratory motion is called a node. So that particular point is called as a node point, as given in the particular figure. This is the node point. Okay, and in the second mode of vibration also you can see here. So when these particular two springs are having these two masses are coming towards each other and moving away from each other, that time also the certain point will be there at the center. Okay, which is nothing but called as a node point. So this is what we have seen, the natural frequencies and mode shapes for the 2 degree of freedom systems. So in the next presentation we will see the numerical on this particular 2 degree of freedom system. So thank you very much.